will call the regular New Haven Village Council meeting to order. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Trustee Dombrowski. Here. Trustee Dilber.
Here.
Trustee Guerrero. Trustee Nona.
Here.
Trustee Burkholz.
Here.
Trustee Suchi.
Here.
President Bison.
Here.
Treasurer Colin Dilber. Here. And Clerk Witzek is here.
Approval of the agenda. I have two modifications to make, three modifications to make. For item 9, new business, letter H, was accidentally put as Clark Street. That should be Willow, W-I-L-L-O-W. And then I would like to add item I, fireworks for 2024, cost share agreement with Lennox. And then closed session we can remove from the agenda.
I will approve the agenda as amended.
Support.
It's been moved and supported that we approve the agenda as amended. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Public comments on the agenda? Any public comment on the agenda? Seeing none. Approval of the minutes. Item A, ZBA hearing, March 12th, 2024, for parcel 2606-28-351-035.
So moved.
Support.
Then moved and supported that we approve the ZBA hearing minutes from March 12th, 2024. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Fiscal year 2024-2025 budget public hearing for March 12th minutes.
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and supported that we approve the meeting minutes from the fiscal year 2024-2025 public hearing from March 12th. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Last but not least, approval of the minutes from the regular council meeting for March 12th.
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and supported that we approve the regular council meeting minutes from March 12th. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
It's been moved and supported that we accept the consent agenda as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Payment of the bills, treasurer's report.
Approval of March 2024 payroll in the amount of $77,127.14, and bills to be paid for March 2024, $630,552.49 for a total. Sorry about that. Mistake.
Do we have a wrong number?
You see what they did? For a total of $707,679.63.
Jeff.
I'll move to pay the March payroll and bills in the total amount of $707,679.63.
Oh, that was correct.
Yep, it has been moved and supported. Comment on the motion?
Yes, I'm just curious as to why the bills for March seem to be
Lower, higher?
high.
Ms. Kazel, do you have a?
The previous month we had the sewer debts and the water debts and stuff of that nature. Is there anything happening in March that,
Yeah, it's year end. It's year end. Any of the bills, so what's going on right now, we're doing our accruals and prepays and stuff like that, so that stuff's gonna be hitting the book, so even if it's getting paid, it will be posted back to March. So you can probably see a little bit more of an increase in this amount right now.
No, these are the checks for bills to be paid.
These are checks for the bills to be paid, but some of them were posted back.
So is it to assume that, say, April is gonna be lower?
No. I'm not sure, Chris, you gotta give me a number, what's the difference between February and March? I do not
Well, I don't have
do
my
that. I do
last
not.
month. Like I said, last month we had either the water jet or something in there that I knew was
We have
gonna,
our spring bid that we had, yeah.
Yeah, it's close to $1 million.
but I mean, I'm assuming March was just a normal month. And 600,000 for 1 month.
I don't know, I have to look at them side by side to see what's going on, to give you an answer.
Okay. Do we want to table this for a month?
You're not gonna pay bills for a month?
Oh, yeah, good point.
No, we have to pay that. As I said, I'm just curious as to why the number's high.
If we're comfortable with going off of this number, we can do the further research, and we'll email council and let everybody know. Okay, roll call?
Trustee Suchi?
Yes.
Trustee Jankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Dilbert?
Yes.
Trustee Guerrero? Yes. Trustee Nona?
Yes.
Trustee Percoli?
Yes.
President Lyson?
Yes. Treasurer's report?
We have a total of village cash assets of $7,067,544.13.
I'll move to receive and file the treasurer's report as presented.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to receive and file the treasurer's report. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Communications and committee reports. Actually, I just noticed that it looks like we're missing our normal section there.
The planning commission did not meet.
Okay, planning commission did meet. Parks and Rec, I believe, did though, right?
Yeah, we're just setting down some bands for music in the park, and then we're just tidying up the festival. We got more entertainment for kids, a bit more right now. And we have some upcoming Tiger Games trips coming up. And thank you to Dawn. Dawn has been amazing. I always thank her so much. She's always on top of things, so I really appreciate it. We all do.
Yeah, we did get those magnets in, so I gave everybody a copy. There's even more over there, and then we have some by the front window as well. So this is, at least just something that we can proactively, get out there into the community. There was a stack that was dropped off to the schools and
Jeff's Pizza.
Jeff's Pizza, yeah. So trying to get it out there into the community so they can see that graphic. One of our residents, Anna Becker, she donated her time and labor to design the magnet for us and put it all together. So shout out to her, really appreciate it, and I think it's something nice to finally have, something tangible that says, hey, look at this is some of the events that we have going on. Step in the right direction. All right, unfinished business, GFL contract extension proposal. So this one, this was asked for it to be shared with council for their proposal for 5 years, a contract extension. For the public version, the amounts have been redacted, but basically it's just, for our review, if we wanted to continue to move forward with the RFP, or if we wanted to consider this proposal.
As a member of the committee, I would like to move forward with the RFP still. But that's my opinion, I'm not sure what.
So would I.
Person are.
Okay.
I kind of have an issue with, we decided to do an RFP already, and we we have a process in place for people who want to bid on that proposal, and to have an organization just bypass that and say, well, here, we're just going to do it this way instead. I kind of have an issue with that. I don't know if it's concern or if I just don't like it that way. I don't know what it is, but there's something there that I don't like, that we took the time to do this and it just circumvented by a company.
Attorney Dennis.
All right, in the contract with your current garbage company, they have a right to offer extensions that is not negated by your RFP. Now, is that the normal way to do RFPs in business? Not usually, but they've done it in other communities and it's been successful. One of your next door communities looked at their proposal, found it so good that they canceled their RFP and took it. So within the contract, they still have the right to make this proposal. And it was my advice that if you got the proposal and it's allowed in the contract, you got to act on it. You certainly don't have to accept it. And some people find the practice to be okay. It's allowed in the contract. It saves money and time. Other people find it a little, like you do, offensive, but it's completely up to you whether to accept it or reject it. But it's been made under the existing contract, so you have to act on it one way or another.
So based off of the comments tonight, it sounds like we want to continue moving forward with the RFP. Do you want that as a motion?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I will make a motion that we continue with the RFP for the garbage
And reject
And
the
re-
extension.
and reject the contract extension proposal provided by GFL.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any further comment on the motion?
I'll just comment that I think I mirror Mario, but I think it's because there's a process in place, and we don't want to violate any of the rules of the process, and we feel like they're violating the rules by giving that, but,
Yeah, it came off a little pushy.
yeah.
I think an RFP is always going to be a process that acts in the best interest of the residents anyways.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. All right, any other comment on the motion? Roll call.
Trustee Malkowski?
Yes.
Trustee Gilbert?
Yes.
Trustee Noah?
Yes.
Trustee Suchi?
Yes.
Trustee Burkholder?
Yes.
Trustee Guerrero?
Yes.
And President Bison?
Yes. All right, item number 9, for new business, we have item A, retirement medical stipend. So for this one, would you like to come forward and speak on it?
Hey, good evening. I'm super nervous. First, I wanted to answer Chris's question, who had been in the office today. I didn't have it with me, but he had asked me if there was any other information regarding being able to do this. And the IRS has provided that reimbursements for insurance covering medical care expenses as defined in the Internal Revenue Code, are allowable reimbursements under an HRA, which is a health reimbursement arrangement. These are tax-free for participants and tax-deductible for employers.
Could you tell us what was your question?
Because we just got an answer.
I think we didn't have enough information.
Oh, okay. He just
This right here simply didn't tell me enough to make a intelligent
Okay.
decision tonight.
I thought you were giving an answer to his question, that's why.
No, from prior today. Okay, so I am super nervous. Okay, I stand before you this evening as an employee who has loyally served the Village of New Haven for over 25 years. I first started working for the community in 1998 as a dispatcher for the New Haven Police Department, while also fulfilling the department's clerical needs. When the New Haven Police Department was disbanded, I was released of my dispatch duties. However, I continued my clerical role where I organized the archives of the department until its closure. It was after this that my position was relocated to the general offices of the village, where my pay was reduced by approximately $7 an hour. I willingly accepted this reduction in pay as a means to continue my service to the village. After approximately 3 years, I was reassigned to the water department, where I did receive an increase in pay, and this is where I remain today. My current rate of pay is $21.26 an hour. Because of my age, 68, and the village's limited staff, I was obligated to enroll in a senior health insurance plan at the age of 65. I currently receive Medicare benefits in addition to United Healthcare, Humana Prescription, Emeritus Dental as my health benefits. This is a significant savings in contrast to the standard Village Blue Cross Blue Shield insurance rates. The village payout for my insurance is approximately $4,334 a year, or $362 a month. Village payout for my Blue Cross Blue Shield insurance was $9,342 a year. Now I would like to share with you my anticipated Social Security payments at the time of retirement. With an annual income of approximately $44,000 pre-tax, based on my current rate of pay, I anticipate that my income as a 25-year Village of New Haven employee through Social Security will be approximately $1,500 a month. While pondering these numbers, I ask that you reflect back to the current cost of my health benefits and recognize that this income will be reduced by approximately $400, leaving me with just $1,100 a month to fulfill my financial obligations, bills, food, and general needs. So you understand, the poverty level in Michigan is approximately $20,000 for a single person. Considering this, I think that we can all see what my financial future looks like. I ask of you tonight, as your currently longest-serving staff member, that I be given the same consideration that my co-workers have been given when reviewing my longevity and the commitment to the Village of New Haven. I'm asking that you approve the request for the health care stipend for myself, a loyal employee who over the past 25 years has never stood before this council and asked for anything else. Thank you.
Does anybody have any comments they'd like to ask Melissa real quick before she leaves the stand? So, as it says in the executive summary, the letter of agreement is for a healthcare stipend in which she would be reimbursed for her actual costs not to exceed $500 per month. Her current actual benefit costs are about $362, less than the $500. There's a little bit of buffer there for cost of inflation and whatnot, medical expenses going up over time. The stipend would only cover medical and prescription coverage. Let me see, what else was I going to point out? So we did talk to the audit staff at Yo and Yo. He brought up about the how we would have to file this in liabilities. For one employee to have this medical stipend, they have it's kind of morbid, but it's a life expectancy table that they would calculate, and then they would put together what is the liability of the total cost of the benefit, and that would be documented into our audit. For one employee, he said it's not a big issue. For if this was something that we were to give to everybody, it could be an issue that you'd have a lot of liabilities that you would have to account for. But I also asked him, the auditor, Mike, is this something that you see in other municipalities? He said, yes, it's very common. Other municipalities do this. He did say that normally this would be done as part of the actual contract. And that was actually the intention, is to originally do this as part of the contract negotiations. But just the timing and everything didn't align. So this is kind of expediting it a little bit. In the letter of agreement, it does say that if the village does approve this tonight, that Melissa wishes to retire no later than June 30th. So this is allowing her to get the retirement that she deserves.
So we did discuss at Ways and Means this a little bit once, and we talked about implementing a program for everyone.
Right, so we had talked at Ways and Means once about implementing a program for everyone. Yo and Yo did not recommend doing that,
Okay.
just because of the amount of liabilities that you might have to carry with the accuracy. Actuary, thank you. But I think in this case, because we have an employee who's been with the village for over 25 years, that, this is a well-deserved benefit.
For accounting purposes, they wouldn't have to do every employee for that. They would only have to do employees with over 25 years of service, right? That's when we would carry the liability, not a new hire.
If we did it for like everybody that had
Yeah.
25 years of service, right, yeah. And that's something that we can figure out for the contract, but at least for, purposes of Melissa's situation, this will just be a one-time letter of agreement that will be added. And then we can decide what we want to do long-term. And I believe in the letter of agreement, it also does say in here that it's until the employer decides to have some sort of plan in place.
I don't think it speaks to that. I believe it more specifically just says that it does not set precedent for future negotiations for anybody else in this bargaining group.
It does say that, yeah. It does say that.
So more or less it absolves liability from us to automatically give it to everybody else.
Right.
It can still be negotiated, and I'm sure Mr. Attorney Addis can speak to that better than I can, but it can still negotiate for everybody else. It's
Right.
just a one.
Right.
And typically, this wouldn't be considered until you're either of age, because I heard Mr. Piccoli say 25 years, and 25 years typically, unlike Melissa, when you become Medicare age, is that when this would actually be considered, or need to be considered?
Well, the problem with that is that Medicare age changes.
No, not really.
Well, actually it does. It used to be 62. In a couple of months, it ain't gonna be 62.
Well, yeah,
anymore.
yeah.
It's gonna be 65, and then it may now be 67 or 68.
It's already 65 for Medicare.
Yeah, now it's up already. So, I don't know if you can base it, now, I'm no Medicare expert, and I don't want to be, but that's, to answer what Mario suggested, I have not reviewed this from a legal standpoint. Off the top of my head, I don't see anything illegal about it. If down the road, you make a different arrangement with union members or other employees, this certainly can be revisited. You can't take it away,
Right.
but you could add to it or amend it to go along with what everybody else does.
Guess my question was more of, not pertaining to Melissa, because I understand her situation. But like say, as our employees, our current group of employees, the 25-year was mentioned, that this automatically becomes something that happens at 25,
What are you talking about this?
This supplement.
My understanding is that, I read this for the first time.
It doesn't set a precedent, I understand that.
Yeah, well, then it has no implication. It is, you're dealing with union negotiations. This was negotiated with the union for an employee. That's allowable. Doesn't apply to anybody else if it's stated in there. So normally is it done after 25 years? You're right. Is that a hard and fast rule? Not that I'm aware of.
Right.
Yeah, I gotta retract that because I'm reading it, I reread it now, and it's not for it's just giving our background an employee with 26 years of service. I was reading it as anyone with 26 years of service.
Right. It's
So
more
yeah, I
like
read
just.
it, that was my mistake, I read it.
I was going to piggyback off what Attorney Addis said, and that is, that's all subject to the negotiations, right? I'm sure we can determine or decide through negotiations if it is 25-year employment stipulation, if it is of Medicare age stipulation, if it is both, and we can negotiate that.
Right. Yeah. Any other
to make a motion to accept the letter of agreement regarding the healthcare stipend from Melissa McGarry.
Support.
It's been moved and supported that we accept the letter of agreement for healthcare stipend from Melissa McGarry. Any further comment on the motion?
I just want to, if this passes this evening and she does retire this summer, I'm only 40 years old, I haven't been around here that long, but thank you for dedicating so much of your life to making sure the village is in a great spot. 26 years is nothing to, you know, bow your head about. That's a lot of time and effort put into dedicating your life to the village, so thank you.
I've only been village president for a year and a half, and I cannot imagine 26 years.
And sticking through all of the changes, the pay cuts that she's outlined, I'm sure it weighed a lot emotionally, and
Right.
I think this is a gesture of good faith by the council to support her.
It's an excellent point. I mean, it's one of the things that I do commend all of our office staff and DPW staff and fire department, is that you have a lot of changes in personalities over the years as elected officials come and go, and it's a lot to have to put up with, so, yeah, definitely. No other comment on the motion, roll call?
Trustee Bankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Sochi?
Yes.
Trustee Nona?
Yes.
Trustee Burkholder?
Yes.
Trustee Guerrero?
Yes.
Trustee Dilbert?
Yes.
And President Bison?
Yes. Item number B, medical stipend letter of agreement. So again, this is something that normally this would have been covered under well, actually, this is a result of the contract negotiations with the supervisors unit, that a larger stipend was given to the supervisors unit. So it's just to allow the one clerical staff member who does take the stipend to get the matching amount. We are updating it in the contract, but again, this is just trying to push some stuff through that the contract is taking a long time. We've been trying to get two departments, trying to get the clerical and the DPW handled at the same time, which is slowing down the contract as a whole. So this is just trying to get it to the point where if we pass this, this gives the clerical unit the same stipend as what the supervisor unit is getting. It evens the playing field, you know, benefit-wise there, and, you know, avoids any issues.
When is that contract up?
Which one? The clerical and DPW?
Yeah.
That one, I believe, is up in July officially. We've started the negotiations already in advance, trying to get it moving along. DPW is, I believe, in negotiation right now with their union rep, getting the initial stuff put together. So this is, again, it's just trying to get this.
But, I mean, if you're negotiating already, so why are we addressing this right now? Why don't we just make this a part of the negotiations?
We could, it's just that would delay the clerical member from getting the stipend until then.
It's part of negotiations.
There is that argument. The union steward, or the union representative, Amy, she did say that because we've passed the contract with the supervisory unit, that we've created an imbalance on the benefit between the supervisor and the clerical.
That's not unusual.
No, it's not.
That's normal. And when does the supervisor's contract expire?
That one we just renewed, so not till 2025.
What date? And I think that's part of the problem. That we got suddenly got this January date for supervisors, we got a July date,
Right.
and
And
we're,
there's this gap.
whereas in the past, everybody was in July. So we can set our budget, negotiate, and have everything. Now we got this winter and summer contracts. And I mean, I fully believe in negotiations. I fully believe in unions.
Mhm.
Okay? But to pull everything ahead for convenience, I'm just not for that.
So I think And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in the supervisor's contract, I think the contract expired July of last year, right? And then it was overdue.
January. I've always been January.
Always
Mine was
been-
October.
When, October?
No, yes, very much.
Well, they had contracts, they weren't
Close.
unions. It was individual contracts.
Yeah, then the contract.
We were in the
It wasn't-
contract and we were in the
But still, we should have a single date.
Yes.
I
Right,
mean, but even if we don't, I mean, I usually don't like throwing this term around, but every contract is what it is. So if there was an imbalance on one contract, if you're on a different one and you don't like, write that down, and when your contract is up, make that a proposal in there and then get it. Because, I mean, I mentioned it at the last Ways and Means Committee, I said the way that we're doing these contracts is sloppy. I use the word sloppy for it. If you want to look at it another way, each one of these is like, if we were to do a contract for a road project, every one of these is a change order. If we had a contractor that just came in and then gave us 900 change orders after that, we wouldn't really stand for that, and then we're kind of doing the same thing here. So we have to, I was going to say this for call from the floor or table, but we do have to just, at some point, we need to have a contract in place. And every time we keep making changes, we don't have a contract, we have a rolling contract.
Yeah.
And it's nothing that you can plan around. And it makes negotiations a 4-year process instead of, on a 4-year contract instead of a negotiation phase, and then you have your contract that both parties deal with until that contract is up, and then you start negotiations again.
yeah, the clerical staff, we had assigned TA between the clerical staff and Amy from the Teamsters Union, and we actually had assigned TA back in September, October timeframe, that it would have aligned with the supervisors, but there's been a couple wrenches thrown into the TA, and now it kind of went for more edits, and it's just been delay after delay. And then trying to also coordinate with bringing DPW in at the same time, it kind of delayed the, otherwise we're trying to pull everybody ahead and just have everybody all together, but that timing did not work out.
We had a TA in September for a contract that don't expire until July.
Right, like I said, we had started the negotiations early. We were trying to get everybody all on the same page. We were gonna bring it to Ways and Means, and then there was some changes that got added.
In addition, it has not been the easiest road dealing with, are they all part of Local 214?
They all have the same
Yeah.
union rep.
Yeah, the supervisor's contract was a circus,
Right.
and it sounds like the same circus is still open.
That's I reach out to Amy and say, hey, where are we with this? And she says, well, you already got it. And then I'm like, no, I don't have the updated copy. And then she'll reply and say, okay, I'm gonna send it over to you. And then it's ghosted for like 2 weeks.
And not to sound naive, but whose responsibility is that?
Right.
I'm assuming, as the employee, they're representing me, that I need to be poking them.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of everybody, right? Like I need to be doing a better job of following up and poking Amy. It took Melissa really poking Amy. Melissa's the union steward for the clerical unit. She's been poking Amy.
You sound like Amy's the problem.
Yeah.
Trying to dance
And if
around.
that's the case, there's a procedure in place to go above Amy.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know when we were working on the supervisor's contract,
It's horrible.
there was a lot of issues with getting the updated copies.
Yes.
So, and I'll be honest, I have no experience whatsoever with union negotiations, so I'm blindly trying to make my way through this.
At one point, at the supervisors, we all had a different version in our hands at a meeting
Yeah, with the Ways and
of
Means.
the contract. It was like, wait a minute.
Well, that was part of the sloppiness part I was talking about,
Yes.
because it was like, we have this frustration now, we have less than 30 employees here. I mean, imagine if this happened in my plant, where we have 2,500, everybody had their own individual.
Right.
That's why you have a committee, and that's why you have a negotiation period, where that's where it's held, that's where negotiations are held, in that period with a small group of individuals. Then it gets rolled out once there's a TA, and then over here it's just kind of, well, For this issue, we're gonna have a vote, for this issue, we're gonna have a vote, and it's like a community negotiation, and that's not what it is. It's not how it should be.
Not how it should be.
It's
Right.
extremely inefficient, and we're seeing the result of that.
Yeah, so to circle it back to this letter of agreement, this was meant to be a way of, okay, let's try to level the playing field here, you know, ahead of the contract negotiation. This is gonna get bumped as part of the contract negotiation anyway. It's just allowing the employee to start receiving that stipend, you know, a few months earlier.
But if the contract is settled in July is where we're going headed
We're
for,
hoping July.
they'll still get it this year.
Yes.
Okay. So I think, I don't know, I want to make a motion that we should pause on this and let them negotiate it during the contract practice. I'm
Support.
not saying I don't want them to have the money, that's not what I'm saying, but next week it could be something else, and we just keep doing these. And I agree with Mario, I'm very sloppy.
Trustee Sochi?
I think, so I understand we're talking about contracts and negotiations and whatnot. I do think it's important for us to look at the fiscal side of this situation if we were to move forward with the stipend adjustment. And somebody correct me if I'm wrong here, the current stipend is $2,500 annually for a total of $208.33 a month. That is the stipend that is given to a village employee that chooses to take the stipend and not take benefits.
Correct.
If we were to allow for this increase, it would go up to $4,000 annually, which is $333.33 a month, an increase of $125 a month. I don't know the healthcare benefits, the numbers, but based on what I heard from Melissa a few moments ago, $778.50 a month if an employee was utilizing the Blue Cross and Blue Shield medical benefits offered by the village. The way I see it right now, this clerical staff member is saving the village $445.17 a month right now by not taking medical benefits. This increase, which does date back to January of 2023 based on the proposal, increases it by $125 a month. There's still over $300 savings per month that this team member is affording the village by taking the stipend and not allowing the village to pay its benefits. I just wanted to make it a point to outline the financial side of this decision. I understand the negotiations are the negotiations, and that's the purpose of the union and so on and so forth. I just thought it was really, really important to point that out.
And not doing it in one round of negotiations with that impact, because when you have a TA in front of you, you have something where you cost the contract. This is what this contract will cost the village for the next 4 years. If you don't include everything in that and you piecemeal financial things, that costs you nothing anymore. You don't know what that contract ends up costing you, so that's another component of why it should all be done neat and not sloppy, because that way everybody knows your hand for the next however long the contract is. You know what it's going to cost, you know what the terms, the conditions are of the agreement. All those things are known, and then it is what it is, then you live with it for the duration of the agreement, unless there's some kind of, extraordinary circumstance that comes up, then but other than that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can see some points being made. My opinion though is that this employee is like Trustee Suchi said is saving the village and only asking for an equal stipend that is being given at the supervisory level, and it's just expediting it by a few months. I don't think it's a big ask, me personally, but I do understand that this is not the cleanest way of doing the negotiations. But again, the supervisors union, they were delayed in getting theirs done. It could be the clerical union could get done in July, but at the rate things it should, but at the rate of things the way that things go, I have no doubts.
But that's not fair. That's not fair to the employee.
Right.
But that's not fair to us either. That we're changing the rules in the middle of the game as we keep going along.
A few months in advance.
Yeah. I'm sticking to my guns on this. That was the worst experience was so unprofessional with the supervisors, and I hear it's happening again with them, and that's, I mean, somebody has to be
Yeah.
the person to stand up to Ms. Roddy and say, okay, stop,
Enough's enough.
yes,
I mean, if you don't want to do your job, then step aside.
right, find
I
someone
mean,
else.
That union has other reps, I'm sure, who would, that they can assign this to.
I agree, but she's about set to retire though, you know what I'm saying?
No, so this is not about the rest.
Gotcha.
And I don't think it's fair to pit, I don't think it's fair for Ms. Roddy to pit us against them,
Right.
because that's what this is becoming, that, oh, well, they don't want to give it to me. It's not that I don't want to give it to you, I want to follow the rules. So Ms. Roddy needs to get her act together.
Is there something that Ms. Roddy could have done differently in this situation to avoid us being presented with this right now?
We had the TA agreement that was before Christmas. If I think if that TA agreement would have, gone to Ways and Means and acted upon, then their contract would already be effective.
So again, I'm going to say it's not fair to pit us against them, because that's where that's the road we're going down now.
Any other discussion on the motion? I'm sorry, so it's what was can you please restate the motion?
I didn't give a motion.
Clerk, do you have the motion recorded?
What I wrote down was that to table the letter of agreement. Is
Okay,
that not
motion
what
is
it was?
motion is to table the medical.
We went up
Um, The motion was to table the medical stipend letter of agreement. It has been moved and supported. Roll call.
Trustee Bankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Dilbert?
Yes.
Trustee Noah?
Yes.
Trustee Burpoli?
Yes.
Trustee Suction?
No.
Trustee Guerrero?
No.
And President Bison?
No. Motion carries.
But I would recommend that your group put a fire under her, because this seems to be where the problems are stemming from.
Okay, item number C is for Macomb County Animal Control Best Practices. So they reached out to me at the village saying that they have put together the attached animal control best practices that takes effect May 1st. They are asking municipalities within Macomb County that work with Macomb County Animal Control to pass these best practices, basically just updating our ordinance to align with theirs.
Is this best practice in their ordinance? Because we passed an ordinance that said our ordinance is their ordinance. When theirs changes, ours changes. So that we don't have to do this every single time. And we've done it, I think this is our third time going around on an animal control ordinance.
So, Trustee Burpoli is correct, we had that ordinance, and then passed another ordinance that was all us,
Yes,
redacting that one.
because,
Yeah,
Under previous.
the previous, the ordinance was modified.
Yeah.
In April of '22.
So this is, we do have,
Let me help you.
Sure.
That is what Macomb County suggests as possible language. It's a real simple language. To introduce, adopt, and publish an ordinance with the intent to adopt Macomb County's best practices as applicable to our statutes. That's the only motion, if you're inclined to adopt it, that's necessary today. I passed that out because that's the language. They suggested, they gave me a lot of selections, but it's really a simple motion. I'm going to introduce, adopt, and publish all at once an ordinance with the intent to adopt Macomb County, latest Macomb County animal control best practices. That's the motion.
Does that negate what we passed the last time?
No, I don't think it negates it at all. It works in conjunction with it. But you don't have to. It is necessary that it be brought to you. It was in your packet. I've read through it. I've talked to the animal control people. It's a good ordinance. It puts a lot of responsibility on the county instead of you guys. It actually lays it all at their feet, so that makes it pretty attractive. If you adopt it, and we later can look and see that we have some conflicts with it, we can amend and say, well, we've adopted this, but now we're going to amend out of this, and whether it's chickens or antelopes or whatever, you can move from there. But if you adopt it, you turn over to the county all this responsibility.
Yeah, that's what we did in the past.
Yeah, at their cost,
Yeah.
which is always a positive because they don't often accept responsibility at their cost. They like to accept responsibility at your cost, but not at theirs. But that's what's different with this. We adopted it in the same manner and form, not that you have to follow them in Lennox with the same possibility. Every community is a little different. You may then again have to tweak it a little to fit your own community's needs. But it's a pretty, I mean, I don't normally praise government, but they did a pretty solid job on this. They did a lot of work on it.
Attorney Addis, to Trustee Percoli's point, is the best, from my understanding, and I wasn't really clear on it, so we have the Macomb County Animal Control, like, ordinance
Mhm.
or standards, but then is the best practices is a separate document, right?
It is a separate, it's a related but separate document.
And that's what I was asking to see if this would be incorporated into our other ordinance that we had, but if it's not, then yeah, then I'm in favor.
It would be incorporated. It does not,
Doesn't.
you can either repeal your ordinance if you want. I don't suggest that. Okay? Because you have some other things in your ordinance that doesn't apply here. Where they conflict, we're adopting the best practices in Macomb County. Now, understand, it certainly wasn't my idea, and I don't understand why they cannot leave it alone. I mean, the clerk is right. They change this every year or so, right? I went through it, I called the department, I talked to them, and I said, what is it that you want us to do? We want you to adopt the best practices. Okay, so my suggestion is you adopt the best practices. This is what Clinton Township did. This is what all Lennox Township did. Macomb Township did. They said, we vote to adopt the best practices as, and maybe this is the simplest motion, as presented to us by Macomb County. Now, their animal control has to be your animal control. The cost of that animal control and all that goes with it becomes their animal control. But you do not have to give up the specifics in your own. So you can word your motion your way to adopt it. By adopting it, you put the onus on them to live up to the best practices when you need them. You guys don't have an animal shelter, and you don't want an animal shelter. All right? So you adopt their animal shelter and all their duties under that. You have some wild animal that escapes, they got to come and get it. I mean, that's a simple explanation. So my best advice on this is that, and I really don't have a strong feeling either way. I think our ordinance is pretty good, okay? So I would make the simple motion that we will adopt and then, publish and then, our move to adopt the best practices of the latest edition of the best practices for animal control in Macomb County. We gain all the benefits, and we give nothing up. And if you didn't, it wouldn't break my heart. I don't think we're in terrible shape.
Would using the term latest edition open us to an issue of it being changed in the future and us not adopting with it?
You could say, no, as recently presented. Okay? They presented it, as their most recent best practices. Adopt their most recent best practices.
I think, and Trustee Suchy, correct me if I'm wrong, I think where you were going with that is that you were hoping to make a motion.
Keep it
that-
going in perpetuity if they were to update the ordinance in the future, or update best practices in the future.
Well, we have a little bit of a problem with that because of something we discussed before. There's a Macomb County judge who will remain nameless who's ruled that your boards cannot bind future boards.
Fair.
Oh, okay.
The previous ordinance we had in writing said that our ordinance mirrors the county's.
It does, but there are now.
Is that in this one as well?
They changed. Now we don't quite mirror, but we're awful close. So the best advice I can give is a motion, to adopt the most recent published animal control best practices of Macomb County. Simple, doesn't change anything, and then you publish it and you adopt it as an additional ordinance.
I'll make that motion.
And maybe 6 months from now, they'll do another one, but
They do it every couple of years.
I'll
yeah.
support it.
So, I have a quick question on that. Is it an ordinance? Because we were given the ordinance, because then it would have to be published. Or are we just adopting the best practices?
We're adopting the best practices, but we're going to publish it as an additional ordinance so that we can enforce it against the county.
Okay. So it does have to get put on the
Yes,
website and bring back next month to
Yes.
fully adopt a new the additional ordinance.
yes.
Yeah. So we're not, according to the council rules of procedure, we don't adopt it, we,
Right, we're not adopting it this month, we're just moving forward with the process.
right.
Right.
So it's ordinance number 404 that will be published.
So we have a motion to continue to move forward with the ordinance process for the Macomb County animal control best practices, to which the ordinance would be published on our website for 30 days for public review. And then at the May meeting, we would come back and vote on it. So we have a moved and supported. Any further comment on the motion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Dilbert?
Yes.
Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Guerrero? Yes. Trustee Capoli?
Yes.
Trustee Sochi?
Yes.
Trustee Nona?
Yes.
President Meissen?
Yes. Okay. Item number D, 25-mile-an-hour traffic control orders. So as was previously discussed at one of our meetings, I think it's been a few months now, actually, Governor Whitmer did pass a law, as I scroll down through my file here. She passed Public Act 212 of 2023, which negated the requirement of the state police performing a speed study when setting 25-mile speed limits within local jurisdiction in areas that are residential. So, what I have in the executive summary is that, while we have the speed limit set to 35 in our downtown, uptown area, in the triangular area of the village, the reality is that, most people are going at least 5 miles an hour, if not faster. So you have, the ability for people to go higher than 35, and it's just, thankfully it does seem like a lot of folks do try to maintain the previous speed limits, but what I have before you tonight are 3 traffic control orders, and I've highlighted in red the only change that I've made, which is just effectively taking what's currently 35 miles an hour and changing it to the 25 mile an hour. And if it's the will of council, then we would set it back to 25.
So the only thing I'm going to comment on here, this is not a hill I'm going to die on, but I'm actually against making laws exceeding something where I wanted to do kind of thing. So like, if we want 25 to be 25, I'm not going to set it to 20 because I know people are going to do 25. And in our last police committee meeting, the lieutenant did let us know that if we wanted the speed limits to be 35, he can enforce them at 35, not 40. Not give the leeway of 5 miles an hour. That's a possibility that we can do. Because personally, I have no problem with the 35 and 45 mile an hour speed limits where they're at. But if we're going to change them because we know that people are gonna be exceeding them, we have the ability to tell our enforcement mechanism to enforce that speed limit if we want. And I know there's some communities that do that because I drove through them before and they enforce their speed limit. So there are places that do it, and if we give ourselves a reputation of somewhere where 35 means 35, then 35 will be 35.
Yeah, I hear that. My only hesitation with trying to tell our enforcement authority to say 35 is 35 is just that there is some wiggle room where, calibration or somebody's going maybe, maybe their speedometer says they're going 35, but the officer sees them as going 37 or whatever. Okay, now am I pulling them over or am I not pulling them over?
You have that at any speed limit you choose.
You do, but that's why there's that 5 mile an hour kind of wiggle room that, typically they're not pulling people over unless it's exceeding the 5 miles over. That's kind of like that.
So we're settling
margin
at
of
25,
error.
but I can drive 30 is what you're saying?
Technically, in most communities, I mean, yeah.
I mean, are we going to put that in the ordinance? I mean, that's our intent. That's what I'm saying is we're setting a limit, but we're not setting a limit.
Right.
Because I can drive 30 and still get a ticket.
I don't think the intent of this is to say, let's put it at 25 so people can do 30. I think the
That's
5
what
mile,
they think if somebody says.
well, the 5 mile an hour,
You put it in writing.
the 5 mile, it doesn't say that. It says that most people do 5 miles an hour over, but it doesn't say that the
But this
nature of
is
this.
why we're doing this, because they do this.
This
I
is,
mean, is it though, like,
Residential.
if I vote yes,
Right.
if I vote yes, that's not why I'm agreeing to it.
yeah, the push for the 25 is because this triangular area of the village is mostly residential. And you have, the admin building that's on Clark Street. You have the library at Clark and Main. You have Fountain Park. We have we're trying to make this a walkable area, and then now we're setting the speed limit to 35. Most downtown areas, the speed limit's 25 miles an hour.
I think it should be 25. I mean, I drive it multiple times a day, and I see the cars flying, and it's just a matter of time before something happens.
I have a question. The stretch of Clark Street, why it's only from Main Street to Haven Ridge and not Main Street to Gratiot?
It was never thrown out there.
It wasn't?
No.
No.
Okay. I know there's not as many, like, single, like, individual homes there as entrances to,
always been
Amherst and Pembroke.
Yeah, now admittedly on Clark Street, it used to be from,
Grass
ro-
to football tracks.
yeah, to the railroad tracks.
Was what, 40 or 45?
It's 30.
It was, so when these traffic control orders were written for the updated speed limits, instead of continuing the speed limit from Haven Ridge to the railroad track, we cut it off at Haven Ridge. So, like I said, what I was trying to do with this is I was trying to edit it as minimally as possible, where I literally just said, okay, whatever was 35, I'm setting to 25, and I'm not changing the parameters of like from what to what.
And how quickly will the signs change?
We have 25 miles per hour.
Every collective head.
And are you going to flag all the signs though, so that people are aware that there's a change?
The flags.
You'll flag them?
We can,
Yeah.
I think we should, because
no, I'm only chuckling because we were just talking literally yesterday about buying more flags, and I told him I didn't think we needed to, but it's a good point, that if we're changing the speed limits, we probably should.
It would feel like a bait and switch
Right.
situation,
Yeah.
right? Like, here you go, here's an
Right.
increased speed limit, just kidding, we got you.
Right.
And
That's the last thing.
sheriff department that just, for the next week or so.
Yeah, yeah, or even a month or something.
right,
Give
and
them
then
a-
it will change.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
You know how the study works.
Yeah, so Trustee Dilbert brought up a good point too, I don't know if everybody could hear, but, that we could give Macomb County Sheriff, say, hey, we just changed the speed limits, we're not trying to do this as a gotcha situation, give people a month or two to adjust, or however long, whatever that period of time is, but, we can still put the signs up and put the flags up, you know, and have kind of like this period of time where there's a little bit of leeway until, okay, now it's no joke, it takes effect.
Another caveat to the rule, Mary.
Yeah, that's, see, that's what I just don't understand, like.
All right, so I will make a motion to,
Do we need one for each separate traffic control order? A motion for each,
Probably should, yeah.
or for different orders? Okay.
for a traffic control order for Haven Ridge to change the speed limit to 25 miles an hour within, I don't see where it's.
From the
marked.
Haven Ridge
Village
Road
limits,
between the village limits south to Main Street.
South to Main Street.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any further discussion on this motion? Roll call?
Trustee Dombrowski?
Yes.
Excuse me, trustee Guerrero? Yes. Trustee Dilbert?
Yes.
Trustee Capoli?
No.
Trustee Nona?
No.
Trustee Suchi?
Yes.
And President Bison?
Yes. Motion carries.
Okay, I'll make a motion for traffic control order to change the speed limit on Main Street between Gratiot west to the railroad tracks. No, that's the old one, I apologize. 25 miles an hour on Main Street between railroad tracks west to Rosso to 25 miles an hour.
It's been moved and supported. Any further discussion on the motion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Dombrowski?
Yes.
Trustee Guerrero? Yes. Trustee Dilbert?
Yes.
Trustee Capoli?
No.
Trustee Nona?
No.
Trustee Suchi?
Yes.
President Bison?
Yes. Motion carries.
And lastly, a traffic control order to put the maximum speed limit of 25 on Clark between Haven Ridge west to Rosso.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Further discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Trustee Dombrowski?
Yes.
Trustee Guerrero?
Yes.
Trustee Dilbert?
Yes.
Trustee Nona?
No.
Trustee Capoli?
No.
Trustee Suchi?
Yes.
President Bison?
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Marcus will get together and do some signatures and signage and all that. Item number E, geotech investigation proposal. Sir Matt, did you want to speak to this real quick?
Sure. Thank you, President Mason. This is a typical request that we ask the geotechnical engineers to provide us with actual cores of the pavement so we can move forward with the design as approved by the board last month. So we reached out to 4 firms. We do this for every project. But we reached out to 4 firms and only 2 gave us a proposal. These are all 6 locations with the understanding that we're doing only 4 as directed by the board, but with an option to add the additional 2 streets. The G2 proposal was 4785. TEC proposal was 5186. They're both good geotechnical firms and they could provide the services that we requested. So we are recommending with the lowest bidder, G2 for 4785. If council agreed to that.
I'll make a motion that we contract with G2 for the core samples for the road projects we're looking into in the future for $4,785.
Support.
It's been moved and supported that we accept G2 proposal for 4785. Roll call, please.
Trustee
Oh, I'm
Dombrowski?
sorry, any discussion on the motion?
I have a real quick question.
Yeah.
There's 6 locations covered here. You said the 4,785 covers all 6, or it just covers the first 4?
All 6.
It does cover all 6. All right, that's all I wanted to know.
Any further discussion on the motion? Thanks for keeping me honest. Roll call, please.
Trustee Dombrowski?
Yes.
Trustee Nona?
Yes.
Trustee Guerrero?
Yes.
Trustee Dilbert?
Yes.
Trustee Capoli?
Yes.
Trustee Suchi?
Yes.
President Bison?
Yes. All right, item number F is for the category B road funding application. Surmed sent over some proposals. Surmed, do you want to speak to it?
Sure, thank you. Again, so last month the council expressed interest in applying for the next year's MDOT Category B funding. And based on the Pazer and street committee discussion, we have some candidate listed here for council consideration with the estimated costs. You don't have to select these, they were just discussed. But we do need council's direction of which streets that we're applying for next year's funding. Remember, there's a 250 cap on the match, so the total project cost is 500 for each application.
And there's 2 applications.
Yeah, we can do 2 applications.
You can do 2 applications.
Now, I know Kathy Court wasn't, I think Kathy Court was included in our last application, if I remember correctly.
I can check really quick.
I think we did Kathy Court, Cynthia, and
Redford.
Yeah.
You are correct. So that was denied last time around.
Do we know why it was denied?
Based on scoring criteria and matrix set by the state, we speculate that, they didn't see enough, or we were competing against really higher score streets.
Which ones do you recommend, Sir Ben?
But these are the lowest Pazer rating at this time. These candidates are, but we have, the list goes on and on. We have a lot of 3s. But these streets were kicked around for a while. If they're interested in any other street, I do have corresponding costs or estimates that we can discuss this with council right now.
For Lewis, for example, so that was part of the 4 streets that we did for RFP last month, right?
Correct.
Can we still put that as an application for the category?
Of course.
Even though we're, okay. If council is comfortable with it, what I would probably recommend, just because I think that there could be a lot of discussion with this, maybe we can set up a streets committee meeting to go through the category, the streets. Will be in, not a virtual one, it'll be in person. So that we can, whoever wants to participate can participate. And then we can come up with a recommendation for what we want to move forward with. So everybody think that's a good idea?
What's the application timeline?
They just opened, I want to say, they just sent out the email, last week?
I think it's June somewhere.
It's usually June.
Yeah, I want to even say it might even be later than that.
So do we want to set it up for like the week of the 22nd sometime, 2 weeks from now?
You would with that? Does that work for you, Marcus?
The Tuesday would be the 23rd if we want to do it.
Okay.
Applications are due by Wednesday, June 12th.
June
5
12th.
p.m.
Yes.
Okay, so let's, we'll set up the street committee meeting for, sorry, I just closed my calendar after I had it open. For April 23rd.
6:30?
6:30?
Tuesday?
Yep, Tuesday at 6:30. Open to the public.
You get it posted on that?
Yes.
What day was that? I'm sorry.
April 24th.
Tuesday.
23rd.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
No, it's the 4th Friday.
That's the 4th Tuesday.
Actually, you know what, let me just make sure. Oh yeah, that works.
We're gonna be out of town with Lennox Township, but the MTA, it's that week from the 22nd to the 25th.
Okay.
Yeah.
The 30th, we have, the council room is in use by one of the HOAs. They're having their annual meeting at 6 p.m.
Monday?
Um,
Wednesday?
I could
do, yeah, Monday, April 29th at 6:30.
That would work. Thank you.
All right, that covers the category B. Item number G, DPW seasonal help request. Marcus?
As usual, yearly I come to you asking for seasonal help. I pretty much, this year I'm going off of hours, which is 1,520 hours. Last year I turned 1,520 hours into 4 workers because with these helpers, they always have weeks that they go on vacation, some of them have things to do, blah, blah, blah. They always, have other obligations that obviously let them go through. So I come before you to ask for 1,520 hours, which, for instance, with 2 workers would be 19 weeks for work for seasonal help. So I could turn that into 3 workers for hours.
What we found out last year, sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
What we found out last year was that, it was harder to find 2 people that could work the 19 weeks.
Yeah.
It was easier for us to find multiple people that could work kind of more of just like on a ad hoc-ish basis, more of a different, hourly schedule. So the thought was that if we just go by how many hours, the cost is going to be the same.
Yeah.
It's just, how we do it.
Yeah, because we split 4 last year and we got hydrants done. We had 2 on hydrants, the other 2 helped with all the weed whipping. So.
And some of those hours, I believe, help pay for the co-op students.
Yeah, and then we had hours left over and we had co-op students from Armada come in.
Yeah, who's been doing an awesome job.
Mechanical work.
He's a wizard with engines and has been going through and redoing all of our small engines and stuff.
I think this is a creative way to make sure that the work gets done.
Right.
It's a very intelligent approach.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that.
I'll vote to approve the request to hire some help in 2024 for 1,520 hours.
Support.
It's been moved and supported that we approve of the 15-20 hours at a rate of $15 an hour. Roll call, please.
Trustee Capoli?
Yes.
Trustee Succi?
Yes.
Trustee Bunkowski?
Yes.
Trustee Guerrero? Yes. Trustee Dilbert?
Yes.
Trustee Nona?
Yes.
President Bison?
Yes. All right, and item number H, MDOT decertification for Willow Street resolution.
Yes, I'm coming before you for Willow Street to be decertified. It's a non-motorized street. Last month when we came to do the other 2, this one was supposed to be on there, so Kelly Bolt from MDOT called me and asked if this one could be decertified. It's not motorized, we're not getting anything for it. It's over Haven Ridge in Maine where that light is. It's where the old foundry, that cement.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's not motorized, so it serves no purpose, so just take it off of our maps.
Okay.
You should run on the side of the foundry office.
Right.
So moved.
Hold on, it's resolution number 2024-005.
2024-005. So, resolution 2024-005 to decertify Willow Street.
Support.
Resolution 2024-005, a resolution to decertify Willow Street has been moved and supported. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Item number A, fireworks for 2024. We had the realization that we haven't brought it to council yet, but this year's costs, Ms. Hazel, for the fireworks, it's $12,000 this year.
Yes, it is, same price as last year, and last year we split it with Lennox Township, it's on their agenda this month also, approved it, we forgot to put it on approved it, so our portion would be $6,000 for the little.
So just asking that we again approve the $6,000, to me, probably the best money spent.
You did a good job on the fireworks.
Yeah.
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and supported that we do a cost share agreement with Lennox Township for $6,000 each for the fireworks for 2024. Roll call, please.
Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Dilbert?
Yes.
Trustee Guerrero?
Yes.
Trustee Polly?
Yes.
Trustee Suchi?
Yes.
Trustee Nova?
Yes.
And President Mason?
Yes. All right, call from the floor, limit to three.
Sorry, I didn't even make a noise.
Call from the floor, limit to 3 minutes. Anybody want to call from the floor? Call from the table. Oh, sorry.
In answering to your Gilbert's thing about accounts payable, I'm going to have to do an audit for all the stuff that we have been approving for the past year, because I'm finding discrepancy from last month to this month. I am showing that there was $654,000 last month in checks that were made. And I'm also showing that this month it's only $574,000. So I don't believe that the amount that was presented tonight is correct, so I'm going to have to go through the books and see what's going on. I will give a list and we'll have to probably add some stuff, go through that stuff. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Call from the table.
I have two things. I'm wondering if we can purchase some pickleball sets and nets that residents could check out. Because we marked the courts, but there's no net there.
Yeah, I thought it would be cool, and we gotta get with Parks and Rec too. I thought it would be cool if we could even like set up like a pickleball class with Parks and Rec, or find somebody that could teach it. You know, I did have a couple of residents who reached out to me already that were asking if we had sets to rent or borrow.
That's what I'm asking, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, they could just leave a deposit and they could get it back when they bring them back. But if we had 5 or 6 sets, because you know somebody's not going to bring it back right away. And
Yeah.
I've seen people up there playing and they bring their own nets.
Yeah,
That would be
so-
a
I've had residents
Yeah.
ask,
Is there liability?
why isn't there a net?
Yeah. Yeah, and if I remember correctly, I want to say like a set is only like $50 or so on Amazon. I mean, it's, yeah, they're not that bad.
Okay.
We gotta make sure we got enough, security deposits so that when they don't bring them back.
That's exactly.
I'd even say the $50, whatever the cost was.
Yeah. And then I know I brought this up in the past, but it's about corresponding with our residents more on a regular basis, on a monthly basis, if we could incorporate it into our water bills. I know, Sandy, you said the last time we talked, you said you had a lot of these water bill cards that you needed to go through. How are we getting through that stack?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
So the water bills are on those little blue cards?
That's correct.
And I inquired about sending out a different type of mailing for the water bill, because then in that envelope, we could include ways to correspond with our residents about upcoming events or changes that are going to be happening. And at the time, you said why you had a lot of these cards that you needed to use.
Yeah, we have, you know, 5,000 worth of statements that we send out everything. We have 5,000, a box of 5,000 that we get. It lasts us like 6 months.
So we purchased them since you,
No, this is what we have in stock.
if you buy a box that lasts 6 months, this was over a year ago.
Trustee Pankowski, are you asking for a different format for sending the water bills
Yes.
rather than the cards?
Yes.
An actual envelope that somebody
Yes.
has to stuff and then mail?
Yes.
Okay. Was just trying to get clarification.
Yes.
It takes 3 days to get the statements out now, a month. With just that, we have instituted an email way to send our utility bills. That's a bigger bill, it's a PDF, we could probably get information on that. So we've started that procedure on that, so that'd be a way to inform these people. Getting away with the statements, we're talking about 44 cents versus 68 cents if we start stuffing envelopes, plus manpower. I don't know a better way to get the statements. We don't have that many statements. We looked at the statements and they don't have a full-page statement that we can mail out to people. We would have to stuff it.
Okay.
Or we have automatic thing. I'll have to look at it. I have to tell you that I have not looked at it because that's not been a priority to me. So,
I just got a water bill and I was really impressed with the mailing that was in it of all the activities going on in that community.
do you have a?
I meant to bring it this evening, I didn't, but I will bring it up to you so you can see it.
Okay.
And just like all the changes that are going on in the city and things that are happening at their council level and stuff. So, and I understand the postage increase, but for 25 cents or so per resident, it's a very minimal marketing cost. So,
Yeah, we can look into it.
Okay.
You know, we also, I mean, we do have, you know, now we have the GoGov notification that we can get some emails blasts out and stuff like that. Been trying to remember to use it. Now we have our awesome magnets, so I think we're getting some.
there's more getting out there yet.
Yeah, we're getting some improvements.
That's all I get.
Okay. I'll go last. Did anybody else have any call from the table? Okay. My last one, I just wanted to update council on this one. Giving credit where credit's due, Genevieve Rodzik reached out to me and had a really interesting idea that I've been kind of entertaining to see for the Lions Club. So she's been really she's been working at New Haven High School, and she brought up to the principal there about trying to set up some sort of CTE vocational training, hands-on with construction trade, electrical, plumbing, drywall, teaching the high school students, having an actual class that they could actually take where they get to learn some of the construction trades. And so she talked to Timmerman about it. Mr. Timmerman was entertaining the idea of this, and the idea was that we could have the high school students either with it'd be like a CTE, a vocational class, which would require some like classroom time before they get into the hands-on, or to have them do some sort of co-op where they would get out a couple hours early from the high school, and then working with our DPW superintendent Marcus, working with Lombardo contractors or whoever the contractor is working on the Lions Club, that there could be this, basically utilizing the Lions Club as a way to help teach the high school students some construction trade. A program. We're in the really early phase of just like everybody thought, oh, this is a cool idea. Why don't we, see what we can do? I wouldn't propose that this delays the progress of the Lions Club. Marcus has been working on getting the quotes for the all-in-one package of what needs to be done. We did have a little bit of a setback. We found out that due to the occupancy of the Lions Club, we do need to have fire suppression. So that will be another individual quote that we're going to need to get. That won't be part of that main package just because that's such a specialized type of deal that we need to do. But if the timing works out, and if it works out with Lombardo, and if it works out with the high school, just wanted to see if you guys were kind of amicable to just exploring this idea of how could we get high school students involved where they can actually get hands-on, experience with the construction trade and be a benefit to both the village and to the high school.
I'm for it. I mean, we are so deficient in the trades right now that we're going to be in trouble in a couple of years, so whatever we can do to help mitigate that, I'm for it.
I don't hate the idea. I'll play devil's advocate and ask if that's work that we want done by people that, young adult, teenagers that don't know how to do the work yet, right? Like, I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm not saying I'm against the idea. I'm just asking the question.
Yeah, it would be under the supervision.
It would be the reason for the program.
Yeah, it would be done under the supervision of licensed contractors and everything, and Marcus would also have oversight, making sure that, the work is getting done correctly.
Yeah.
And then I know that the high school was going to look into what all the liabilities and everything is on their end, that, you know, to make sure that students, you know, that they're all covered and all
Sounds
that.
like it's probably a pretty heavy lift from a school perspective.
It might be. So, yeah, it might be that, you know, we have a meeting scheduled for Monday, just for 4 of us to powwow and talk about it. Just wanted to kind of, you know, see what the thoughts of the council was. You know, and we might powwow about it and find out that it's not feasible at all.
So the concept is awesome. It's really good.
I think it would be really cool if at one point in time when we do finally have the ribbon cutting for our community center there, that to be able to say that this was also done in partnership with New Haven High School students.
We have some high school kids there now who cut the ribbon.
Yeah.
Put the work in also.
Yeah, there are other school districts that have similar programs in place.
Yeah, they have building trades,
Yeah,
but they actually go out and, you know, have sites where they actually construct the house
yeah.
from the foundation up.
Yeah, we had even talked about that. I mean, there are some properties that the village does own that, you know, we could even see about putting up a house and, you know, as part of that class. Or, you know, the discussion was talking about, you know, partnering with Lombardo just because they're building all the houses in Pembroke. So that would also, if the timing doesn't work out entirely with the Lions Club, then there's also Pembroke that they could, you know, maybe work with the students on. They're trying to get something set up as soon as this fall. So.
Spring line, get them to make Main Street, we'll get that in.
There you go.
Less Model A's.
Maybe more hours.
No traffic light.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the horse crap.
All right. Any other call from the table? Motion in order.
So move.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion, or meeting adjourned 8:27.